Good morning, graders. Tuesday morning. It's the Tuesday after Labor Day. I'm going to show you what we're working on today. Really cool piece of property. These are old phosphate pits loaded with fish, and beautiful piece of property. And we're going to be scraping a lot for a custom home right here. Their house is going to this is a very steep cliff. It's probably hard for you to tell. I'm talking very steep. And their house is going to overlook this lake when it's done. So, pretty neat piece of property. We're waiting on the superintendent to get here because he has a few things he wants to do. I'll try to give you guys some footage of the actual entrance here because it's beautiful coming into this piece of property. But anyways, that's what we're working on today. We're going to scrape this lot and get it ready for the guys to come in and do a footer. Got several trees to trim coming in because you have to come a long driveway, dirt driveway, and there's tree limbs hanging in the road. We won't be able to get our loader or dump truck in until we trim those trees up. But that's what we have on the docket for today. Hope you guys had a great weekend and a great Labor Day. I kind of took a break from posting videos, but I'll start posting again this week. Appreciate you guys watching. Okay guys, we just got started. We had to trim some trees out front, but my camera was left back here on the job. You can see that it's a long way in here. We have to clear 8 feet past that fence for a road that's going in there. The fence was actually niched out 8 feet. You didn't see us remove that. But we're starting to scrape the lot and remove the trees that we've got to remove along that side. Believe it or not, that is the road that they're going to come in. The front of the house faces this way, but they're going to go past their house and turn around and enter the garage. It's a really weird setup here. You can see the lake down there. But we're just getting started here. I'll give you guys a little bit of footage of me scraping what I can. I can't get in their way, but I'm scraping obviously the lot now. And so I'll show you a little bit on a time lapse, and then we'll slow some things down and I'll show you how we're clearing that out. We've got to bring in 8 to 10 loads of dirt on that side. It falls off. And like I said, that's going to be a road, so we can't have it falling off. We've got to bring in 10 loads of dirt and pack it in real tight. It's kind of just an odd job, but anyways, hope you guys enjoy the footage.
Underbrush to load here. We're going to load it and haul it to the front of this property for this homeowner. property line, so we had to, their property goes on over towards the swamp, so we had to cut out about another 15 feet or so. So we could wind up with this fence row. We're gonna fill it all in with this dirt. And it's hard to believe, but their driveway is actually gonna come right through here, so. Started out to be simple, but like always, you're underbrushing or chainsawing, it seems to grow when it gets on the ground. So we got about 5 loads to haul out of here. Stuff has some vines and not a straight log in it, so we have to really got to use 2 machines to get it loaded up. But loader does a good job. It's a 4.5 yard machine. Root brake on this job.
Okay guys, I know my brother grabbed the camera there for a minute and did a little filming for me. I'm sorry that I'm not getting as much footage as I should. I'm still only on 1 camera. We actually purchased a 2nd camera. We don't have it up and running yet, but I'll try to do a better job. It's just that when I'm on the job, and I think you'll understand this, especially if you work in this type of deal, I have to be working at all times, and I can only do so much with the camera. I only get so much downtime. I don't know how much I've discussed it. Our dad is the boss. He owns this company. He's had it for over 40 years, and it's one of those deals, I guarantee you some of you will know what I'm saying. My dad is dad on the weekends, but on Monday through Friday, he's the boss, and he's not big on much downtime or much time standing around filming, so I don't give him no hard time on that. We just do what we can. He's certainly not mean about it whatsoever, but he's here to work, and I understand that. And so we only get so much time to do our filming. But you see now we're starting to add dirt to this bank. We have to go 8 feet further than it was. This fence, you probably can't see it, but the fence kind of niched out 8 feet, and that 8 feet belongs to the homeowner, so they wanted to reclaim that. We took our track hoe and our loader and chainsaws and dug out all those pepper trees and a couple of cabbage palms, and now we're bringing dirt in to refill that bank, because that will be their driveway. You see this corner stake right here. There's a corner stake right up there on the other side of the tractor. They're going to run past their house here, and they're going to come around the back. It's kind of an odd deal the way they did this, but anyways, you kind of see what we got going on. We're trying to load Ray. Brian probably told you that. And the homeowner actually has a place to dump these trees, so we're just taking them around the field there through a gate and dumping them on his burn pile, which is really convenient for us. But that's the job, guys. Hope you're enjoying it. Man, I can't thank you guys enough for the subscriptions and for the comments. Been getting a lot of comments. Got some great positive comments about the devotions too, and so man, I love that. I love doing the devotions. I hope you guys are encouraged by them. In fact, I think I'm going to end this video with one as well. So all right guys, if there's any more, it's almost 3:30 now. We usually knock off 3:30, 4 o'clock. If we do any more here today, I will include you on it. Hey, good evening, graders. It's Friday evening for me. It's 6:38. I actually got off work a little early today, and I drove up to our hunting property, which is in the Panhandle. We just went through Hurricane Idalia, and I wanted to check on the property. Actually had no damage whatsoever. Didn't even have any flooding. It ended up going a little bit east of our place, and so I'm actually going to drive a couple of hours here and meet my brother and my dad and my brother's son, my nephew, at their hunting property. I've never seen their hunting property, and they want to show it to me, and I'd like to see it, so I'm going to go do that. But I thought, since I am sorry guys, I about missed my turn. I have no idea where I'm at. I'm following a map here. I've never gone this way. I'm driving from the Panhandle up to a little bit east of 75 in Middle Georgia, to a town called, well, you might know the area. It's sort of the Rochelle, Pineview area. Maybe you're familiar with it. But I thought I would record a devotion, because I've gotten some great feedback, and I love that. I love that there's other like-minded guys out there who are not ashamed of the gospel. And so I was just thinking, as I was putting some corn out and checking some cameras on my property, what I could talk about. And I thought about, again, I know I've said this every time, I don't have my Bible with me. That's not to say that I somehow know it all. I certainly do not. I got a long way to go in my Bible study. We all do. But I thought about the prophet Elijah. And he is an Old Testament prophet. And he's famous for many things. But the most famous thing that he did in the Bible is he challenged the 450 prophets of Baal on top of Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel is on the Mediterranean coast in Israel, and I had the privilege of actually leading a devotion on Mount Carmel about the subject of Elijah one time. But I'm going to go with a different subject today. Elijah was a very godly prophet. Again, we could go into so many different stories. But even though he had won victory after victory, he defeated the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. You may know the story, you may not, where he called down fire from heaven and consumed the altar. The prophets of Baal could not do anything because, of course, Baal is not a real god. He's a false god. And so he won that victory. But Elijah, when he was about to die, he was fixed to be, actually he didn't die, he was called up into heaven. He had a young protege by the name of Elisha, very similar names. And Elisha was sort of training under the prophet Elijah. That's probably a little bit of an elementary term for what was really going on. But in the end of Elijah's life, he wanted to travel to a few towns, and he asked Elisha to stay behind. And Elisha basically said, and I'm just paraphrasing here, Elisha basically said, no, wherever you go, I'm going. You're my master, you're my teacher, I love you, and I'm going where you go. And so they would go from town to town, and each time Elijah would tell Elisha to stay behind. And a few of those towns, they ran into what's known as the sons of the prophet, the 50 sons of the prophet. And I'm not going to get into what those prophets were. It's a little bit of a deep study, to be honest with you. But those 50 sons of the prophet made fun of Elisha for traveling with Elijah. They basically said, don't you know that the Lord's done with your master? Don't you know that it's in vain that you travel all this way with him? And Elisha basically didn't listen to their mocking and ridicule and scorn, and he followed his master anyway. And they end up going down to the River Jordan, and if you know the story, Elijah takes off his mantle, which is like a cloak, and he smotes the Jordan River, and the river parts, and they walk across on dry land. And that's a wonderful miracle that happened, that God allowed Elijah to do. Shows you how what a close relationship that Elijah had with God. But that's not at all the point I want to make in this devotion or this encouraging study. And that is, the point that I want to make is, the Bible says a peculiar thing about those 50 sons of the prophet. It says that the 50 sons of the prophet viewed all this from afar off. Now, what happened is, when Elijah smote the water, he asked Elisha, basically said, look, Elisha, I'm going to heaven. The Lord's going to call me away. What would you like for me to do for you? And Elijah makes a very wise decision. He says, I want a double portion of your spirit. In other words, I want to be doubly close to God from what you are. And Elijah tells him that's a hard thing to ask. Nevertheless, if you see me when I'm taken up, this will be granted unto you. And the 50 sons of the prophet, the Bible says, viewed all this from afar off. Here's my challenge. I know I'm going over my time here. Here's my challenge. If you're a believer, if you're a passive believer, if you're a rigorous believer, someone who believes in God with all your heart, and you're active in the church or active in the ministry, no matter where your place is in your belief and in your relationship with Christ, let's don't be guilty of viewing everything from afar off. And this is what I mean by that. Get in the fight. Do as many things as you can for the Lord. Redeem your time. God will honor us. Hey, those 50 sons of the prophet, I might be reading into it a little bit, but let's just take a little common sense approach. They might have gotten the mantle when Elijah went up, but because Elisha was the one who stayed faithful to his master, he was the one who was able to pick up the mantle and receive a double portion. Those 50 sons of the prophet who probably had good intentions to serve the Lord, they viewed it all from afar off. They didn't get involved. Guys, we're not called to be innocent bystanders in this Christian life. We are to be actively on the battlefield of the Christian life. And that's not, I'm not making a reference to violence or anything like that. I'm talking about spiritual warfare. Get in the game. If you're a Christian, redeem your time. Hey, I like to hunt and fish. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm working on hunting property, and man, I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. But guys, I'm very mindful, and I try to be very mindful of redeeming the time. I don't want to view all of the things or the opportunities I could have from afar off and let someone else have those blessings. I want to redeem those blessings in my own life for myself and for my family and for my friends. And so that's my challenge today. I know I've gone quite a bit of time here. I hope you're enjoying the devotion portion of this. I love it. I love to teach Bible. I teach Bible at my church. My pastor, I'm an associate pastor. So my head pastor is one of my greatest friends, and him and I teach on Wednesday nights, and I love to teach. And so I don't claim to be accurate on everything I say. I divide the scriptures the best I can. Everyone has to work that out for themselves. But I hope it's an encouragement to you. I hope you're enjoying these devotions, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks, graders.